Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. The World Endurance Championship is all set to get underway in Qatar in a few days with a grid made up of 7 different hypercar manufacturers and 9 GT entries. This is a huge improvement from the years of 1 or 2 major entries taking turns dominating the sport, such as Audi from 2000 to 2014, Porsche from 2015 to 2017, as well as various parts of the 80s and 90s, and Toyota from 2018 to 2022. We don't want Porsche to dominate the series, but at least it feels like there is actual competition for the World Endurance Championship these days. But what about the future? There is a whole host of manufacturers lining up for a chance to enter Hypercars into the World Endurance Championship and the IMSA in the States. So let's look at the rumoured entrants we could see in the next couple of years, from the all but certain to the slimmest of chances. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and let's jump into the video. Genesis GMR001. We start with one that has been confirmed. Hyundai's upmarket brand Genesis will be entering the World Endurance Championship and IMSA in 2026 and 2027 respectively. Hyundai are making big moves in the motorsport space. Apparently they are looking to partner with McLaren to enter Formula E. They have a champion in the WRC and the BTCC and look to be spreading their good name to other series. The GMR001 looks good, but this is the company's first go at sports car racing. We also have a good idea of the drivers who will be racing for Genesis. Andre Lotterer and Pipo Derani have been announced as part of the project, and Genesis have joined with IDEC in the European Le Mans Series, with Jamie Chadwick, Logan Sargent and Mathis Jabert in the car. Of all the future entries on the list, Genesis is by far the most complete, and I imagine we'll see it on track later in 2025. Ford LMDH. Do we all want to see Ford versus Ferrari round 2? Of course we do, and it makes total sense for the American brand to enter the World Endurance Championship given their history. The Mustang is already on the grid in the GT class, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Blue Oval on the grid in the next couple of years. Could they steal Max Verstappen from Formula 1? Possibly. Ford are partnering with Red Bull in Formula 1, and Verstappen has himself both shown his dissatisfaction with Formula 1 and his admiration for the World Endurance Championship. Ford have said they'll be on the grid for 2027, 60 years after their last full effort at the top level of sports car racing. Mercedes Iron Lynx Hypercar. Another that has all but been confirmed is the Mercedes Hypercar project and their partnership with the Iron Lynx team after the latter's disastrous efforts with Lamborghini went south. Iron Lynx will be entering GT Mercedes AMGs in 2025, the first time Mercedes have raced in the top sports car series since the late 90s. Amazingly, Mercedes have only ever won at Le Mans once before, in 1952. Iron Lynx will be looking to take a win for Mercedes for the first time in 70 years when they join the grid. It may also be interesting to see if Lewis Hamilton links back up with Mercedes for this project if his time at Ferrari doesn't work out. I can't imagine him continuing in racing after he finally leaves Formula 1, but a big money Mercedes Le Mans project might tempt him, especially if Ferrari upset him. Probably see them on the grid in 2027 alongside a new GT3 Mercedes, but nothing has been confirmed for definite just yet. McLaren. Given they are already racing in Formula 1, Formula E, IndyCar, supporting a variety of customer GT efforts, and possibly entering Extreme H if it actually happens, so a full McLaren Hypercar entry may be a step too far. Apparently McLaren were looking to enter with Ford, but that went down after a disagreement over the technicalities emerged, and Ford have ploughed ahead on their own. McLaren CEO Zak Brown has said he wants to enter the WEC by 2027, and they are reviewing their entries in Formula E and IndyCar, possibly to make space for a Hypercar entry. It'll be interesting to see if the United Autosports are put in charge of the entry, or if it will be a McLaren-led project. I can see this happening at the cost of their environmentally friendly projects, as Extreme H looks to be a disaster waiting to happen, and Formula E's relevance is slipping further away every day. Honda/Acura. The Japanese manufacturer has never really had a sports car racing entry, with only a few NSX appearances here and there at Le Mans over the years. Acura, meanwhile, have been a near ever-present in sports car racing in America, going back to at least the early 1990s. They have found plenty of success in the IMSA, and the ARX-06 is currently the car being run by Meyer Shank and challenging for Porsche's dominance of the United States. It makes complete sense for the ARX-06 to make its way to Europe, but not with the Acura brand attached. We don't get Acuras over here, but an ARX-06 with a Honda badge would be just as good. Apparently this has been in the works. Acura didn't want to foot the bill themselves, and Honda are considering the possibility. This is a strong maybe, but nothing solid has been announced yet. Maybe we'll hear something before the year is out. Bugatti. We are getting into more speculative manufacturers now. Bugatti are very unlikely to enter the World Endurance Championship because they are owned by Volkswagen, as are Porsche. But given they made the ultimate road-going hypercar, fans are clamouring for a true Bugatti racer, a rarity in the last 60 years. And yet the Bugatti Bolide was designed with the World Endurance Championship in mind. We haven't heard any real updates in the last few years, so I believe this will just be a fantasy for now, but maybe one day we'll see a Bugatti back at Le Mans, a race they haven't won since 1939. Alfa Romeo. Likewise, for Alfa Romeo, it's a case of probably not whilst Peugeot are in the series, as they are both owned by the Stellantis group. But there might be more hope for Alfa Romeo, as the Peugeot has proven to be pretty useless. So Stellantis might want to quietly discontinue the 9XE and replace it with another one of its brands. Alfa Romeo had the most sports car success, with the iconic 8C taking 4 wins in the early 1930s and an aborted sports car effort of the 1990s. Although I wouldn't be against seeing a Lancia LC3 personally. The CEO of Alfa Romeo was asked about a WEC effort and it doesn't sound good. So this is a probably not. De Tomaso. I didn't even realise De Tomaso was still alive and kicking, but they are, and apparently they have a concept for a World Endurance Hypercar. This would almost certainly rely on raising the necessary capital to enter the car from sponsors and drivers and very hopeful investors. Based on the new P72, the V12 powered hypercar will most likely be a tool to sell the road-going versions of the car, but De Tomaso would be a welcome addition to the grid if funding can be found. If the money can be raised, then this will be the first Le Mans effort from a De Tomaso since a few appearances from the Pantera 30 years ago. Velox. It's been a couple of years since Velox Fangio was announced, and I think there could be a good chance this is not going to make it to the grid. The ambitious Velox was supposedly going to run on biofuel, but with no new updates and a history of disappearing and reappearing, there is almost no chance we'll see Velox in the World Endurance Championship. Lotus Geely. The ridiculous Evija was apparently built with the WEC in mind, but Geely have not shown any real intent on entering the series, and it's unlikely we'll see them do anything with the Lotus brand. The ER9 concept is apparently what Le Mans cars will look like by 2030, but it's electric, so that is almost certainly not the case. Poor Lotus deserve better, but with Geely in control of the cash, you won't see them in the WEC. Lamborghini / Vanwall / Isotta Fraschini / Glickenhaus. Whilst it's a lot of fun to look at manufacturers that might appear, what about the ones that have disappeared? Are they likely to return? Well, Lamborghini are missing from the 2025 grid, but they are still racing in America, no longer with involvement from Iron Lynx. Lamborghini have said they will look to return in 2026 if a new partner can be found, but that remains to be seen. Isotta Fraschini wanted to return in 2025 with 2 cars, but they wouldn't be ready for the start of the season, and it remains to be seen if a space is left open for them later in the year. Same goes for Vanwall. They've apparently made significant upgrades, but just couldn't get the car ready in time, and again, it remains to be seen if they'll turn up later. Glickenhaus are done with their hypercar program, but you can purchase a SCG-007 if you have a spare couple of million. So they are just a selection of the rumours surrounding the World Endurance grid. It's possible we could have a single category Le Mans race with all the hypercars looking to get themselves entered. Let me know your thoughts on the manufacturers looking to enter, or which other teams you'd like to see in the World Endurance Championship. Make sure you subscribe for more motorsport content and more news and videos on the World Endurance Championship. Check out the members only content. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.